It's time for Cats Talk Wednesday. Small town and big city joined forces. Vinny Hardy of Lynch, Kentucky, and Terry Brown of Louisville, Kentucky, team up to give you free-flowing, laid-back sports talk. Focus on Kentucky Wildcats, as well as pertinent information in the NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball.
Here we are. Terry Brown, Vinny Hardy, Cats Talk Wednesday, BS3 Network. Can't tell Terry Brown nothing, and we already know if you listen, but he'll tell us again as we progress through the evening. What's up, man?
Hey, another fine Wednesday. I'm ready to rock and roll, man.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, man. Our cats are licking wounds. It's a bye week. You got a wedding anniversary.
Yeah, two years, man.
We got a trip planned to see some team that play professional sports or something, but something you said like they're coming close by in the Midwest area, and something you said last week. I think that's what you're gonna be doing. So
you a Cowboys fan, so I'm gonna let you slide with that. If I was a Cowboys fan, I would not be talking about primetime San Francisco 49ers either. So I get you.
Man,
I get you. They dropped it to Cleveland. Yeah. I was not a fan of the finish of that. There was still time to drive and try to get a touchdown, and settling for a 40-yard field goal. I've never been a fan of that, but it is what it is. I just want the guys to get healthy, and I just want us being healthy in January. Like that's my only thing. This squad is very healthy in January. I feel confident, but I also like to see them to get some wins too. So
how's the health Monday night? Because I mean, you gonna be there? How many of the stars are y'all expecting to see?
I think McCaffrey is going to play. I've not seen about anything about Trent Williams. I think Dre Greenlaw on the defensive side will be back. So I just want to get healthy. Whatever that means. If it means we sacrifice a game here or there, I just want to be healthy come January, because that always seems to trip us up and keep us from getting to the Super Bowl or winning the Super Bowl. That and having Jimmy G as your quarterback was also a detriment as well. But man, I guess we got to start with the Cats. And
is Debo gonna play?
I think Debo's gonna play.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we the dreaded one turned into two, and the way it started just looked like, hey, you come out and go get this Georgia taste out of our mouth, 14-0, and then it was just kind of helpless. It just slipped away, and they couldn't get the momentum back, and it just withered away the rest of the night.
Coaching. I mean, yeah, that fake punt was a big play for Missouri, because up until that, their offense wasn't doing anything. Cook wasn't doing anything, and he still finished with his lowest output of the season as far as yardage. So you would think that's a recipe for a Kentucky win, but
Luther Burden didn't get off, and he was leading the country, which he can't get off if Cook don't get off. So
right. So the recipe was there for a Kentucky win, and I'm not of that ilk where it's like, oh, we're never going to lose to Missouri. We're going to lose, right? It's still 8 of 10, 7 of 10, whatever it is. But for me, it's always the way that you lose. I've always said that when it comes to my teams losing. If my team loses, give me something historic, right? But Missouri didn't do anything wild and crazy. That's the frustrating thing. Missouri was pretty pedestrian and won going away. It's like the Niners in the NFC Championship game. What do you do if you're trying to put your quarterback radio in your running back helmet? You've run out of quarterbacks. There's not much you can do. So you just pack it up and try it again, or like the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. Jokic was in his bag. Wasn't a whole lot else you could do, right? All right. But Missouri didn't do that. And so it's very, very frustrating. It's coaching. We've seen lack of discipline when it comes to the last few games. And again, that's coaching. Uh, I don't know how you fix that week 7. You know,
Mhm.
Leary is who he is at this point. We're not going to turn the page and get 68-70% completion percentage. It's not going to happen, right?
Mm-mm-mm.
The receivers are who they are at this point. And so people can focus on the play calls. People can focus on the speed at which the team is playing, but
Mhm.
it comes down to execution. And the execution hasn't been there offensively. Cohen has made plays, has called some great games, and I think it was during the Georgia game that the commentators even pointed that out. But it's execution. If you've got dudes wide open in the passing game, you've done your job to
Mhm.
scheme, right? Uh, Again, going back to San Francisco, you know, the thing on Purdy is people always, well, you know, we don't know how good he is because he got the weapons. Well, we have seen Jimmy Garoppolo with similar weapons not make those throws.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know, watching San Francisco, you look and there's like, how does Debo get that wide open? How is Ayuk, one on one on the outside? Like, how is Kittle that wide open? It's a scheming thing. But Purdy, to his credit, has got to put the ball there, and that's not what's happening. So I don't know. Is it Leary not accurate because the guys aren't catching, or the guys not catching because he's not accurate? I think a little bit of it. The guys are ready to make plays, and you got to catch it first. That's
Mhm.
that's always before you do anything else. You got to catch, secure, and then you go make your play. Uh, that's what separates the great receivers from the good ones. Is you got to make those routine plays.
Mhm.
If it's okay to get a 5 or 6 yard completion, that's okay.
Yeah.
You ain't got to take it to the house all the time. Be happy with that. And so it wasn't quite an all systems failure against Missouri, but this bye week, there's going to be some soul searching, and not
Mhm.
not just for this season, but moving forward.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
out. The first quarter kept it from being an all systems failure because second through the fourth, it was what they got outscored 38-7. So
and
that's a beatdown. I mean, 38-21 is okay, but 30 you can't you say take out the first quarter. You can't. But we
but
saw what happened after the first quarter, and they got beat 38-7. And
and, and we got away from running Ray,
mm-hmm,
and the
mm-hmm,
game was never out of reach. I thought,
mm-hmm.
oh, okay, we scored and went up 21-20.
Yeah.
Okay, it's one of those things. Make defense make a play, and let's get this thing moving. And Kentucky just didn't. Part of the problem is I've seen this kind of floating around on the internet. Kentucky's in 3rd and long.
Mm-hmm.
They're on the bad side on offense, on the bad side on defense. Uh, Opponents are averaging 3rd and short against us, and we're averaging 3rd and long. So
Yeah.
that's not a recipe for anything. And again, it's the boneheaded penalties. It's those penalties that you don't have to make
Mm-hmm.
that happen at the wrong times, and we just don't have the talent to overcome that.
Yeah.
That's that's the thing is we just don't. Some statistic, and I think it was some kind of offensive metric, and we were neck and neck with Iowa. Okay, and you never want to be when it comes to your offense. You never want to be with Iowa because one, Iowa has an elite defense, and their punter isn't kicking the ball 20 yards, which is something that we've been to. Like,
yeah. I mean
Steve Spurrier had it right a long time ago. Kentucky's got a heck of a punter, but we're not even able to flip the field like we used to.
yeah.
So there's a lot going on. The problem is with football is building that momentum.
Mm-hmm.
And the way you lose, I think the way you lose just means something versus more than just the wins and losses. Like I said, if Cook come in here and he lights us up, hey, that happens, right? you know,
Mhm.
but we're shooting our own selves in the foot, and it's just not working. So
Yeah,
it's coaching. Look, I mean this, and I usually try to shy away from this kind of stuff. But the first 15 minutes against Tennessee is going to tell us an awful lot about how the program moves forward.
Mhm.
Because Stoops has checked off a lot of boxes in Lexington. There's no denying that. But the difference between where Kentucky is, where we want them to be, is you got to show up in primetime games.
Mhm.
People ask, the recipe for how Kirk Ferentz has stayed at Iowa for this long. Well, Iowa is bowl eligible for the 22nd time in the last 23 seasons.
Yeah, that's
That'll do it, right? That'll
Mhm.
do it, right? And
Mhm.
like I said, part of it is Ferentz beats the rivals, right? Like won 9 out of 10 against Iowa State, 8 out of 10, whatever it is, against Nebraska. I just realized they play Wisconsin for a trophy. I didn't know that, for some kind of bronze bull trophy. Iowa plays for a lot of weird trophies. And then they've got the one with Minnesota, the pig trophy, right? You win those games, but it was just a few years ago, Iowa beat Ohio State 55-17. The
Mhm.
last 10 games against Michigan, Iowa has the advantage 6-4.
Oh, yeah, that's a nice
So
little.
so you beat the rivals, but if you want to keep that fire going, well, sometimes you got to beat a Michigan. Sometimes you got to beat Ohio State, right? Like,
Mhm.
and that's where this Kentucky program is. If you want to make that next leap, I don't think it's necessarily going to Atlanta and the SEC championship game. I think you've got to have a marquee win. We've talked about this before. You know, Rich Brooks did beat LSU, right?
Mhm.
Joker Phillips, finally beat Tennessee
Mhm.
and took care of South Carolina and Steve Spurrier, right?
Nope.
And we have seen every football coach, there has been that signature win. And, when you look at Stoops, what would you say? Maybe the bowl game against Penn State, maybe that 41-38 win over Louisville, but there's no SEC win
Yeah.
that you're just like, wow, okay.
Well, and which we give Joker credit for Tennessee, which you have to, and I guess ending the Florida streak is probably the Stoops' most marquee SEC win. You won in the swamp and ended the streak, which was on par with what Joker did ending the
Right.
Tennessee streak. I guess is that Stoops' best SEC win?
But yeah, and that's even
And it's not like it was a top 10 team or
and
a,
and that's what needs to happen, right?
Mhm.
Like, okay, in a couple of weeks, whatever, when we play Alabama, beat Alabama. I know this isn't vintage Alabama, but that's what's missing. We're building toward this. That's the sizzle that we need,
Mhm.
and I want to see that happen, obviously, but that's what we're missing, because it's just too easy now to pivot toward other things, because Kentucky football, even though it's better than it has been, it's still in that, because every program seems to have that moment, that big moment that has eluded Kentucky football.
Mhm. Yeah, so you're right. And we still talk about beating Alabama 97, and that Alabama team wasn't any good. But the name
Yeah,
Alabama, it's
yeah,
still, that's 26 years ago. And first time you beat them since 1922.
yeah,
Beat them again. It'd be the first time you beat them since 1997.
yeah.
And yeah, so
And I want the football team to do well. I'm not trying to get involved in the football versus basketball debate. That has been whatever.
mhm.
Um, But the thing is, if you keep commanding our attention, then you have to deliver. And you have to deliver in prime time.
Mm-hmm.
That's what has eluded Kentucky football the last few seasons. Yes, the Florida win and beating Florida. I'm one of those people. I'm not trying to discount beating Florida.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen too many of those go the other way, so I'm going to enjoy all those. But now we're ready to do something else.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's eluded the football program to this point.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And, well, I mean, this Tennessee team is still going to be better than any other Tennessee team Stoops has beaten, even though they might not be 11-1 like they were last year or whatever. They're coming down. We'll see what they do against Alabama. And I like the fact that they're playing Alabama and then coming to us. So, they're in the middle of their grind. They just played Texas A&M and they won. But that offense, they fussing about it down here right now. They had 7 points into the second half. They were sitting on a touchdown. It was a punt return that sparked them and kind of gave them the lead. The offense only scored 13 points. So I was kind of surprised to see Texas A&M come to them at home, coming off a bye, and just basically keep them on lockdown. So, every fan base got something to fuss about. I listened to, different stations. I was listening to a little Birmingham radio, but they had Jason Swain on, who played receiver for Tennessee, and they were asking him about the offense, asking him about the passing game. You can basically carbon copy what we've been saying to what he said. He said, when either, Joe Milton is inaccurate, or when he hits them, they drop it, or we have protection issues. It's one of those three, and those three things are on the same page. I'm like, we saying the same thing up here. He down here saying the same exact thing about them.
And that's the thing is there's 135 FBS teams, and I would say 100 are in the same boat, right? We've talked about it before. The difference between 5 and 7, if you want to say like not 5 and 6, is it 5? Yeah, or 4 and 8 and 8 and 4, just a handful of plays, and the margins are so thin for most programs, you can't shoot yourself in the foot. And that's what Kentucky has done. Because that's the kind of stuff that lingers over a program, going back to the Florida game some years ago with 2 touchdowns of people uncovered. I mean, you've got to have this attention to detail that, it's kind of missing right now.
Mm-hmm. And we'll keep all this going. We got a couple friends of the show. Like you said, they used to come on here before they got their own show, and now they got their own show. And they're going to come on here and chop it up with us before they do their show. Van Hiles and Anthony White both played for the Cats, and we'll get into all this with them and get their thoughts. And of course, they're going to have even more thoughts when they do their thing at 9 o'clock. But I want to just pivot to baseball real quick because you bring the stats out, and I'm talking football and baseball. When you say, was it Matt Ryan and who's the top 20 passers? Matt Ryan and somebody's like ahead of Johnny Unitas. And
there's like Kerry Collins and somebody else are right. It used to be Kerry Collins and somebody else are right above Johnny Unitas and Joe Montana as far as career passing yardage. I'm like, there's no way you can't just use numbers to make an argument.
And so I agree with that. And maybe because I'm petty as a Braves fan, I'll go ahead and put that out there because the National League East hatred is kind of the same as the NFC East hatred. I hate the Phillies just as much as I hate the Eagles. The Phillies just bounced out the playoffs twice. Having said that, I think when I put this stat out here, you might agree with me. Phillies up 2-0 on the Diamondbacks. So they're 2 games away from the World Series. I was hoping the Diamondbacks could knock them out. Kyle Schwarber, who your lovely wife knows well, former Cub, the Phillies just went off last night. They won 10-0. Everybody was hitting home runs. That ballpark is like this big, and the Phillies was just in their bag, going yard. Kyle Schwarber hits a home run last night, and I didn't even watch the game. I'm watching SportsCenter before I go to work this morning, and on the scroll it says Kyle Schwarber ties Reggie Jackson for the most postseason home runs by a left-handed hitter, 18. And I'm like, this is not the same. This is Kerry Collins ahead of John Unitas. You're not going to impress me. First of all, there's more playoff rounds. You got wild cards, and you got NLDS, you got NLCS, you got a whole lot more at-bats and a whole lot more this and that.
Right.
You can't just throw out, oh, he just matched Reggie Jackson and expect it to just no.
For the record, this is all-time passing yards. Number 19, Joe Flacco.
No.
Number 20, Russell Wilson just moved to number 20. Number 21, Kerry Collins. Number 22, Joe Montana. Number 23, Johnny Unitas. Number 24, Kirk Cousins. Number 25, Andy Dalton. So when when you start talking about numbers, that doesn't work.
And
when you look at sheer numbers,
Andy Dalton, the top 25 passer in NFL history. Come on.
Look at some of these names. Of course, at the top, it's Brady, Breeze, Manning, whatever. Phillip Rivers, I don't know. I didn't know Carson Palmer's number 15. That jumped out at me. Number 16 is Vinny Testaverde. Matthew Stafford is number 11.
Okay.
Now, if you had to pick top quarterbacks, how many quarterbacks would it take to get to Matthew Stafford? 50?
Maybe. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Because
you old school dudes that could play in this era, you still picking them ahead of Stafford. You picking Bart Starr and Johnny Unitas and all those dudes.
But look who's not even close. Did you know that Jay Cutler has more passing yards than Steve Young?
No.
Derek Carr has more passing yards than Jim Kelly.
Derek Carr?
Derek Carr.
Lord.
And so when you look at all these kinds of things, it's like, oh, wow. Like, really? Steve Young's he's number 42. Troy Aikman is 44. And so I it's I agree that you have to look at different eras, right? And just tossing out, well, this guy's got such and such a passing yards. Really?
Yeah.
When did, especially if it's something new, I will flip that around. I saw this on the internet today. Apparently, First Take was debating their greatest receiver of all time. And I'm like, it starts with number 2. Like Dan Orlovsky, whatever his name is, was talking about, I guess they didn't bring up Calvin Johnson. I'm like, I know y'all just start with number 2, right? Like, there's no argument for anybody else, right? Like, okay, are we cool with that?
I saw that got your ire. I was like, oh yeah, they're gonna poke TB with this one.
Jerry was a 10-time first team All-Pro for a decade. He the best, and then like 5-time he was second team. Like that isn't anyway. I'm not going to go on that because I could talk about that forever and ever. But you can't use numbers, particularly with division series and wild card games all counting.
Yeah.
And way back when it was, you won the pennant and then you played the World Series. Like it's not the same thing. That's the one side of baseball and baseball numbers that I'm like, I don't know.
And then I think they used to even kind of get on A-Rod about this, like his home runs were kind of hollow, like you're winning 7-1, and then he hits a 3-run home run. It's not like a clutch home run that ties it or gives you the lead. Reggie Jackson was winning clutch World Series games against the Dodgers in the 9th, and you gotta have it. Kyle Schwarber, they was already up 6-0. Diamondbacks didn't score. So as soon as the Phillies got one run last night, the game was over. They didn't know it, but it's a lot less pressure on some of these home runs than others.
Yeah, I'm back on my BS of just wearing whoever won the night before. That's the cap when I'm out in the back. Oh, like,
Yeah.
oh, you're a Texas Rangers fan? Of course. I sent that picture to the man Ben Suttereth on there. You know, he's talking about the Rangers. I'm like, I got 3 Rangers caps. Absolutely, yeah. You know, okay. I don't know.
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, you hurt my heart. You wear some Philly stuff, but hey, they won last night, so do what you got to do.
Well, yeah, I got a Phillies cap. You know, here's the thing: I have not bought any hats in a long time, any MLB hats, because once I got them all, I'm like, okay, I'm cool, and as teams change up, I'm like, do I really want to invest in another Marlins hat? Nah, I'm good. So I don't know if I'm going to be replacing too many as teams change their logos. The only thing I want to do is I might get a new Cleveland one, because the only Cleveland one I have is the one with the big Chief Wahoo on it, and I'm like, oh wow, I'm not going to wear that one now. So I might get the one with the Block C, but I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing. I've got them all.
Mm-hmm. And happy retirement to Terry Francona, because that dude to do what he did in Boston, and then we got Cleveland to the World Series against the Cubs. You know, he almost ended 2 droughts.
And Cleveland's one of those things too. It's like, you know, I'm gonna say this because she's not here. You know, basically those were 2 droughts in 2016. Yeah. I mean, once you get to a 50-year title drought, it's all the same. It all blends in together, right? Like, ain't no young person remember when Cleveland won a World Series, right? Like, ain't no young person remembering that, right? So once it gets past 50, okay, we all in the same boat at that point. So it's one of those things. You know, somebody had to lose.
Yeah, yep, and it was a drought was going to end either way. You're exactly right. Speaking of, we got one guest backstage right now, taking time out of their eating before they do their own show. UKDB, co-host on The Locker. You hear him with Larry Glover. You hear him on Tom Leach's show. You see him doing cut-ups. You see him dropping knowledge. Play for the Bears. Without further ado, number 17, everybody's favorite DB, Van Hiles. What's up, Van? VH?
Hey, what's up, VA? You ain't hit me with the everybody DB they love. That is not it. We are what's the word? We have love when we do well, but we suck when we give up a TD.
You like that
it's
closer?
Really it's like a love-hate relationship.
That closer is either a save or a blown save, no in between.
Right. It has nothing to do with the first 8 innings. It has nothing to do with the starter giving up 5 runs. But hey, it's all about me, though. I give up 2 hits, and it's like, oh, you horrible.
That's true, man. That's true. Appreciate you hopping on here, man, because you got your own show coming up at 9, The Locker. And, you know, I didn't know if y'all would ever, you know, hadn't had y'all on forever. And I was like, man, they got their stuff they doing on Wednesdays. And appreciate y'all working it out. And I guess A-Dot's on his way, man. So appreciate you.
Yeah, man. We'll find a way, you know. We'll find a way for the fellas. Some way, somehow.
I got to ask a question, Vay.
Uh-oh. TV.
You've done the cut-ups. The stuff we saw against Missouri, is it fixable?
Everything. Look, and I always harken back to my playing days because we were not good. And I apologize to you two for having your college experience not being what these young kids have now. Because there's some kids now, they're like, oh my God, we're not going to win 10 games. Football stinks. So I apologize for that. But here's the deal. I played in the era, really, if you look back on now, when you playing, you don't believe it, but I can look back and say we had no business being on the field with some of these teams, talent-wise. Do we have some guys on the team that could play? Yes. But on those teams, name me 5 players on the team that I played for, offensive and defensive combined, that could have started for any good team in the SEC. It would be hard. The only guy that I can tell you right now, this is pre-Tim Couch, is Mo Williams. Mo Williams, the only definite guy on our team that could have started pretty much on any team in the SEC. We got guys now that other teams right now in NIL are going to try to hand pick some of these guys away from us, right? So we got more guys right now, and since about 2017, we got guys on the roster that can compete for a starting position on any other team. So now that's the difference. You can't fix that. Like that, the guys on your team are the guys on your team. You can't fix that. But the errors, the mental breakdowns, that's fixable. So can it be fixed? Yes. And we're 5-2, and we sitting here talking about this crap because we're 5-2. We're 5-2.
And I look, you know me, I'm as positive as they come.
Yes.
But my whole thing was, the loss to Georgia, we all kind of assumed we would be 5-1 at that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my whole thing is what I was talking to Vinny earlier is how do we look in the loss? My concern against Missouri was if Cook comes out, throws for 500 yards, all right, okay. But Missouri didn't do anything to show me, like, I wasn't wowed by them. It's like, why are we losing to these guys?
This is to me how I know it's fixable. Concern, everybody should be concerned. Even if you're winning, there's concern. No one wins flawlessly. There's always concern. People got in my mentions from Missouri, and guys are talking about, oh, that was a blowout. I'm like, dude, it was 21-20 at the start of the fourth quarter. Where's the blowout? Like, this game, if the Georgia game was going to create a hangover, it didn't. We came out 14-0. So, honestly, this game had nothing to do with Georgia. This game had something to do with guys controlling their temper, controlling not being frustrated, controlling with things, basically control the things that you can control. And we didn't do that well enough in this game. I mean, if you think about it, we got 14-0, and it should have been 13-14 and a half, but it was 17-14. We come out after half, have a fumble. That defense could have easily given up a touchdown and go 24-14, easily. Now, that would have been tough to come back from. They held them to a field goal. So the boys didn't stop fighting. It's just a situation of things just went downhill fast, and we couldn't recover in the fourth.
And so with a lot of the stuff, this is what I love with your analysis. Sorry about that, Vinny. I know you're going to hop in here. But I think a lot of times people hear somebody say something and they run with it. And it's like, no, that's why I like when you break it down. It's like, no, let's look at time, score, break it down like this. It's more than just, well, we got blown out. Well, what do you mean by that? Or these guys quit. What do you mean by that? Like, words have meaning, right? So what, and I should have asked that question, how do we fix this? But it's these little things that, the margins of error are very, very small. And it's like, if we fix these little things, I'd feel better as we move through the rest of the season. Because the season's not over with. Not at 5-2.
I can't remember what coach told me this. It was years ago. Everybody focuses on the play, but nobody focuses on the play before the play. Because normally the play before the play is the precipice for the play. So, for example, we up 14-0. It was 2nd and 10. I think Mizzou is on the minus 40-ish. Our outside linebacker, we had a good pressure. He comes inside. Their quarterback scrambles for the longest run they had all game, 25 yards. It takes them to like the plus 30-something. That's how they was able to get that fake punt. Because if we don't let that play happen, they are not in position to do a fake punt and be comfortable in it. There are issues in games like, for example, the 3rd and the 3rd and 20 play. We had 2nd and 9, throw a perfect pass to Dane Key. We get a holding call. We don't get in 3rd and 20 without the holding call. And on that play, we're on the 45. It backs us all the way to like the 10-yard line. Like those kind of things, we have to understand that there are more than just that one play. There's more than just the interception play. What happened before the interception that caused us to be in that situation? This team is better than what they have put out on paper as far as stats. But these guys got to find a way to catch the ball, and we got to find a way to complete the layups more consistently. But this game, man, Devin Leary played a damn good game, and he has nothing to show for it.
So when you say we hear it, even after wins, especially after losses, you hear Stoops say, we got to get that corrected, got to get that cleaned up, cleaned up. Go in depth as to what getting stuff cleaned up is. Like the penalties, is it each position coach getting with the guys and just doing reps or doing drills or doing mental stuff? Is it the coordinator? What goes into cleaning stuff up? Because you definitely going to hope when you play Tennessee, you don't duplicate what just happened. So what is the cleaning up that we hear coaches talk about as Anthony White is able to join us, your co-host, working and doing his thing? Appreciate you, man.
Man, glad to be here, man. Finally get on. Sheesh. Man.
We just picking y'all's brain like we always do. Just ask Van. We hear coaches say stuff gets cleaned up. What goes into the cleaning up? Is it the position coaches meeting with the guys, like the penalties, for instance, to where you won't duplicate what we saw against Missouri when Tennessee comes to town? We're just trying to get your thoughts on what is actually involved in cleaning it up.
Man, my day, that whole clean with this team, I don't know where to start. Like I said, back in Van's day was completely different, and back in Hal Mummy's day, for the most part, the cleaning up to me, in my day was making sure you know what your assignments are. And I think knowing what your assignments are, we repetition so much. In my time, we repetition so much that you don't have pre-snap. You don't have to jump offside. You relax. You know when the ball is snapped, boom, 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 boom. Now, if you guessing while the ball is snapped, sometimes you forget the snap count. Sometimes you're paying attention to too much stuff. So that's kind of cleaning up. Like let's shrink our playbook. Let's see what Devin Leary likes to run. We're going to, we got 5 plays we can go to. So on 3rd and medium, we can go to this. 3rd and short, we can go to this because he's comfortable with running. He don't have to think. The offensive line don't have to think. And then you got routes where the receivers can work on getting off of the bump, can work on getting separation, getting a release, so the timing ain't messed up. So to me, it's kind of like clean up a lot of the things, basically tighten up from the offensive aspect. But I do think one thing that I've been hearing coming out of the camp in this bye week was cleaning up, and people was making light of it, that he making them run gassers. That is my thing. Like, if you mess up, I don't know, they may still do up downs, but I don't believe at this level they still do up downs. They could.
Probably not.
But to me, one thing is if you keep jacking up, you're going to be well conditioned. So that's one thing. But it's always worked for me on all levels, man. Having to run when you make a mistake in the middle of practice, having to run every time, because now you get the fatigue starts to set in. So now you got to focus more in practice. Now you tired. Okay, you jumped off sides because you wasn't thinking. Now you even tireder. So now you're giving yourself that mental focus on being prepared while you tired. And if you want to do it and have money, we used to practice so quick. Man, we had practice for an hour and 15, hour and 25, 30 minutes. The whole practice, that's warm-ups and everything. Because if we got out there and got it quick, was sharp and quick, we get off the field. If we didn't, if we had to go over, we didn't run gassers back then, and we were one of the most penalized teams in the SEC. But that was because we didn't have discipline. That was definitely because we didn't have discipline. But we made up for it a lot of times. So we had converted 3rd and 13, or 3rd and 15.
You got the same answer, Van?
Look, he said the perfect thing, and I want people to understand this. He said all this cleaning stuff up. He didn't say nothing about Coach Stoops. He didn't say nothing about Coach White. He said nothing about Liam, about the position coach. He says about the players. The only thing people understand that in a game, we can go in practice and do all the shit right. Oh, man, we can be all cylinders in practice. Can you translate that to the game? And that's something that we having a problem with, is translating that from the Joe Kraft Center over to Commonwealth. That's a problem. That means to me, Anthony said, I'm going to go a different level on defense. When I think I hit my peak in college is when I knew what everybody else had to do. When I played quarterback in high school, I knew everybody's position. Someone came to me off of the lineman and said, man, what do I have to do? Oh, well, you got to scoop that guy. I had to know everybody. When you get on defense, once I know what my safety has, what I know what my linebacker has, when I know what the defense end on my side has, I become more comfortable because now I know where I fit in that scheme. The other thing is not only know what everybody's responsibility is, then you know the strengths and weaknesses of all my players. I'll never forget. The only way I picked that ball off in Tennessee is because I knew what my linebacker was going to do on that play. If I didn't know that, I wouldn't have been in that position. I knew on play action fake, he's coming. He is not going to be in his zone. So what I got to do, I got to kind of cover his zone a little bit because I would rather him play the run than to play soft. So I know now, okay, I know his responsibility is curl flat, right? So knowing my guy's responsibility is number one. Then knowing who he is. Well, if they play action fake, he ain't going to be in the curl flat. So I might have to help him out on there. That's when you are tightening stuff up and the little things don't happen with guys being out of position. Because I'm not going to be over here when I know, man, I ain't supposed to have my hand in that cookie jar. I better keep it over here. Some of these guys are starting to do things a little bit out of the framework of the scheme. You can kind of color outside the edge a little bit, but you can't be a preschooler doing this. You know what I'm saying?
That makes sense. That makes sense. So objectively, I just want to ask y'all, do you bye week, self-scout, you go back to the basics, you hear all that. As you all watch this team, do you all say, oh, I made that same mistake? Or I remember being in that position and doing the same thing, what I'm watching this young fella do. Can y'all objectively say that? Or did y'all like, man, I did not do that when I played? Or where y'all kind of come out on watching, because since y'all are removed from playing, watching guys
To be honest, for me, I was, I'm not trying to compare myself. I was more to Ray Davis. My coaches will tell you, my teammates will tell you, I did whatever had to be done. If it was a game where I'll tell coach I'll stand and block. Now, does that hurt our team? Yeah, because Tim don't have a safety valve. But I'd rather him be able to, get the ball outside. So I would sacrifice myself to make the game plan work. A lot of times, if you wanted me to, if you go back and watch our games, there was games where I ran a lot. There was games where I didn't do nothing but catch the ball out of the backfield because they didn't want me to stand and block. But I say that to say, so when practice is going on, we trying to put something together. This or this ain't working. Hey, well, coach, I can line up in the slot. Whatever. You can take me off the field. As far as I'm concerned, we'll put a fullback in and put 4 receivers in. So if you play Mississippi State, they want to bring the house every damn time. And we on the sideline figuring out, okay, that dude coming off the edge on third, da-da-da. So chip him, and you still going to be in the route, but make sure you chip him first to give him time. So my point is, at this time of year, we kind of, I guess I kind of go back down and condense and everything. And no, we wasn't like this because, and this is the biggest thing when he's talking about the player meeting, you ain't dropping this many footballs. And maybe it was the half. No, it wasn't even one bad play. James Tucker and them dudes, you're not dropping that many footballs and not getting cussed out, not getting hands and feet put on you. And you either not going to go back on the field because you don't jacked up so much, or if you do go back on the field, Vinny and TB, the last thing you going to do is put the football on the ground.
So I got a question about that. Anthony. When it comes to the drops, is it just a concentration thing, or is it trying to get the ball and make the next move? What is it that you're kind of seeing, or if there's anything universal with the drops that we're seeing? Are the receivers trying to do too much?
No, and me and Van talk about this on the locker. I don't think they doing enough work prior to the ball coming out. They not doing, like I said, they not setting themselves. Like you said, if you run a fade route, don't run straight to the sideline. Save as much room as you can. Lean on the corner. And we used to warm up doing that in air raid. Lean on the corner, catch the ball on the outside. You see Craig East, you go back and watch film, Craig East, Derrick Avenue. They do it all the time. Like, it was just second nature, just running straight and just stick your arms out. We didn't lean. We didn't fade. Okay, I got that much room over there. Bam. And you just throw your hands out. But I think there's a lot of work done in practice. I think there's a lot of work done catching or with the receivers and the quarterback getting it. But they're not prepared to catch the ball because they ain't done enough work prior to that. So it's make it tougher. If a guy's right there on you, you know, the ball may be out of place. But for Devin to throw some of those wide open balls like out is more of a continuity thing. He don't expect them to be open, and when he sees them open, oh man, I guess it's, you know, kind of like you watch baseball. I got on my Indian stuff. A third baseman with a routine grounder. Sometimes it's just that, man, that thing go high and go wherever, but I just don't think they're doing enough work outside of game time, outside of practice time, because the receivers ain't really getting enough separation for them to feel comfortable catching the ball. And I don't think Devin Leary feels comfortable a lot of times anticipating them being where they're supposed to be. So do I think it's kind of, you know, they have a problem with catching it? No, I think their hands are all pretty good. I just think it's so much that went on before the ball is released that they got so much going on in their mind. Is Devin going to deliver the ball in the right place? Are they going to be in the right location when I cock this thing back? I don't know. I ain't see those problems with Andre Woodson. I ain't see those problems with us. Like some of the greats, and we thought Devin was going to be a great, even Will for that matter, man. When the guy was open, majority of the times he put it right on him. He just had a hard time processing who was going to be open and picking that guy out.
Yeah, it trying to say a comparison. If I'm working on an assembly line, right, and I've been working there 10 years, them people can almost do it with their eyes closed, right? If I'm a producer on ESPN and I got 3 games going on and people want to, oh my God, when you go in the control room, you see all these buttons and all these TVs. How do they go back and forth? Because they have done it so many times, it's second nature. This passing game to these receivers and catching the ball is not second nature. They are thinking too much when the ball's coming instead of just boom, there. I play quarterback, and right now in my high school, I don't need to know the receiver. I can just naturally lead them because I've done it so many times. I've been throwing the ball so long that it's second nature. These guys have not caught enough balls, which means Anthony will tell you, you got to get on that jugs machine. You got to get one of those GAs, one of the equipment managers, somebody out there, you can just boom, boom. I saw a clip not too long ago where the guy had his Anthony, this dude had his hands right after the 2 wheels. He was on it.
Yeah.
That's what you need. Train your hands. I saw some kids the other day, they were catching against wet balls. They had a bucket in between their legs. They put their hand in the bucket. Then when the ball came, they had to come out. Now you catch with wet hands. Those are the kind of things I'm just saying, I don't know. But on Saturday, it looks like we ain't putting enough reps in because we missing balls that, dude, right here. Not like here where you got to extend. Balls that are like, I can't hand it to you better. So
right. And that's the thing too, is that attention to detail that I think we're not getting. Like I was telling the wife, you know, when the 49ers went from Montana to Young, and Jerry was working on catching. I remember catching this on, you know, Inside the NFL or whatever. Well, he found like a left-handed quarterback in the area. That's who he, you know, because the spin is different coming from a left-handed quarterback. So he's like, I'm going to work on catching left-handed ball. Like, it's those little things that I know using Jerry Rice as a receiver example is a kind of a cheat code, but it's those, but it's those little things that you have to pay attention to get where you want to go.
But here's the thing. Using Jerry Rice is a perfect thing to use because you know why? Because Jerry Rice is so talented. He could have went home like, man, I've been catching I've caught million balls. I don't need to work on this no more. him at his highest level, found a guy who's a left-hander to throw the ball. He didn't just say, "Oh, this is gonna find a guy who can throw it." He specifically honed in on what I need to do to get better. If Jerry Rice can do it, why can't we do it?
Well, and that's why I fell in love with Jerry. But go ahead, Vinny, you got a question?
Who?
Like, Van, you've seen the cerebral side. Who college pro or maybe thinks the game like you or as much as you do? Because you seem to be one that really thinks it. Who's some more cerebral types like yourself that you got the athleticism, but then you seem to like really think it, break down, know what everybody else is doing, and not everybody does that.
So I would just tell you one thing. First of all, and Anthony would tell you, did I have athletic ability? Sure. I mean, I couldn't go to college without being sort of an athlete, but I wasn't even close to being the most athletic guy in the DB room. Not even close. I mean, I'm probably, in all my years, I probably was at the bottom if you don't count the walk-ons. I mean, be honest with you. I mean, we had guys, LT ran a 4.3. We had Reggie Rush running a 4.3. We had Stephen Hall, who was 6'3", 40-some inch vertical. We had Carlos Collins, who were like, we just had some dudes on that side of the ball. So for me, the best way for me to be able to compete in this level is to beat them another way. And I couldn't beat you with my speed. I wasn't the biggest guy. I wasn't small, but I wasn't the biggest guy. So for me, it was in between the ears. Because then if I can, and I learned this from Marty Moore, watching Marty Moore when I first got there. Marty Moore was the freaking slowest guy on the team. Wasn't even close. Marty was always where he's supposed to be, though. And it was like, why can Marty see what everybody else can't see and beat everybody else to the ball? Mm. It's before the snap. It's understanding the defense, where the weakness is, where the strength is. Some of these kids, man, are just so athletic. They don't have to do it because their speed can make up for it. The thing about it, though, if you marry the two, you're elite. The guy who I know, and he doesn't play anymore, is Ed Reed. And I wasn't even on Ed Reed level. Ed Reed wrote down everything. I didn't write down everything. I wrote down some stuff. But Ed Reed would write down everything. And Ed Reed was an athlete, an elite athlete. When you marry the two of film study, knowing the defense, also knowing the offense. See, sometimes you focus too much on your defense. Sometimes you gotta know what they do too. Find some little intricacies or nuance that they're doing that can give you an idea what the next play is. So nowadays, I don't know. I don't know if there's any guy on our team. Maybe DeAndre Square and Jock Jones last year, but I'm not sure this year we got any guy who's really studying film. Really studying film. Trevin Wallace, maybe?
A-Dot, you kind of describe yourself as a hooper who played football. Like basketball is your sport, your first love. And so for you to do what you did in the SEC as a running back when you are a hooper just out here playing running back, getting yards, catching passes. Had you chose basketball, where would you have been? Where would you have ended up? What direction would that have taken you? Who would you have played for? And all of that.
I don't know, man. It was tough, man. Like I said, I got more awards in basketball in high school, but but for some reason, I was always like football wise, like man, it was basically unstoppable. I just had fun playing football. Like it was just natural. Basketball I worked on a lot. I wasn't tall. I mean, back then 6'2", but everybody on my team was 6'4" and bigger. So our point guard was 6 foot. I was 6'2". My twin cousin was 6'4". Posey back then was like 6'6", 6'7". We had another 6'6" transfer guy from Canada. We had a 6'7" dude. So basically, I was a smaller guy, but I don't know. I will say this. So when Bill Curry came to visit, every school telling you everything. I had to stay on the East Coast though, because my mom wanted to come to all the games, so I couldn't travel to. Which at that point in time, Colorado was recruiting the hell out of me before the offensive coordinator came over here, and that was funny. But so I'm talking to Curry, and I'm like, we just asked stupid questions like, what's your best program? What are y'all known for? Where do you see me? We see you, being an athlete. You can play offense. You can play defense. You did both in high school. I said, well, what about basketball? Oh, yeah, we definitely. He said, you keep up with us? I said, yeah, I got a pretty good team. Pretty good teams. Like, yeah. I was like, so I could play basketball? Oh, yeah, we got a great team. That we'd encourage that. And I'm like, okay. And now to me, I grew up a Fab Five dude. So I grew up Big Ten, kind of really Michigan fan. So I was like, I didn't know Kentucky was as storied as they are. So I'm just kind of like, okay, I might be able to go over and play. And I get here, got a class with Twan and all that. So I'm like, man, all right, these dudes. And I came in with Wayne Turner, Ron Mercer, Nas. So I don't know if you remember this or not. If y'all recall, Tubby's first year.
Yeah. So
Wayne was point guard. Saul was
second year, I think. No, it wasn't his first year.
I think it was the second year.
I think it was the second year.
It was 98.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 98 year. Yeah, so it was the second year.
First
so
year
they have
open
tryouts. And we always over playing basketball at Memorial. So they have open tryouts. So I'm like, shit, I'm going to go try out. Saul, Wayne is the dude, but I can take Saul's spot. So we talked to coach and, we talked to the assistant, man, we'd like to have you out here or whatever. So they get back to Mummy, man. Mummy said, I heard you trying to play basketball. So yeah, man, I always wanted to play at this level. That'd be pretty nice, man. So that's cool. I tell you what, White, you go out and try and play basketball. I'm not holding a position for you. I said, what do you mean? I didn't do nothing to lose my position. He said, if you go play basketball, you get hurt or whatever, you got to earn your position back. And I was just like, damn, this was 98. So this was going into my junior year. Like, all right, well, I guess I ain't going to play basketball. So I guess to answer your question, I could have took the risk and tried to play basketball and see. Well, I didn't have the height or whatever. But, and like I said, our expectations was so high here. Could have been a national champ, but I guess I could have took the risk to see what happened, but the clout we had coming from 97 to 98. Oh man, shoot.
Yeah. That's awesome. Oh, y'all thoughts on Shane Beamer, man. Fool done kicked something and broke his foot. And what a goofball. What a goober, man. What a goofy.
No. I'm not sure he's hurt. He's the kind of guy who would do something and just try to pull one over on you.
All right.
How can we prove that his foot hurt? He's gonna fucking. Oh, excuse me if I'm sorry. I'm not. Sorry, excuse me. How do we know he's not using this as a motivating thing for his players? Because he would do this, man. Why would I, as a coach, no one else in SID, no other your players, no other media member know anything about you kicking some and coming up hobbling, right? For you to announce that, there's some ulterior motive to it for me.
It smells fishy to you.
It's fishy to me.
Okay, I got you. I
feel
the same.
That don't sound like something you would announce.
Right.
He told the world on Fine Bomb, or what was he on? Was he on Fine Bomb show? He
wasn't even asked. He wasn't even prompted to give up the information. He just gave up the information. No, man. I don't trust that.
Hey, I say we lost to a team in high school. We ain't lose very many games. We lost to a team, man. Ice cold, wet. You know how people talk. They went the field down, so our coach bought into that. So instead of us running our option, we running off tackles up the middle or whatever. It was a close game. We go in at halftime and we blew them out like 48-0 the year before, but they wound up winning the state this year. Coach comes in, bam. Everybody got a coach that's just real big, swole, puts his hand through the board. So we like, ooh. And now we like, man, who? So us, we been little smart asses. Who owns that board, man? You just broke their board or whatever. We go through the rest, and this is the vantage point. We go through the rest of the game. We wind up losing the game, man. Everybody walking around mad, man. So we punching lockers now because Coach gave us that. Man, we came to Saturday film session, man. Coach came with his hand all wrapped up and not like not a permanent cast, but a temporary cast on and everything. So to that point, he knew he messed his stuff up, but he ain't want us to know that that tough guy routine didn't work.
Oh man, last thing before we gotta let y'all go, man. But Van, man, no shade, but can your Stros rally back and get back in this series against Texas, man?
We played Texas. I don't know how many games in Arlington. I think 12. Guess how many games that we lost? So, man, we the Stros, bro. We never were. It was Dusty. With calm Dusty back there, we all right. We all right. Now if they win tonight, now then talk to me about 10 p.m. tonight. Then out there, but no, I'm not worried.
Right. All right. Well, fellas, what's coming up on the locker? Tell everybody how to listen, and you know, everybody should know because look, Larry Glover tells everybody, Tom Leach tells everybody, you know, they be talking about you, man. So what y'all doing? Got any guests? What's coming up tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern time?
I was gonna try to do a media roundtable just to see what the talking heads say. So me and Van, for the opposite, you know, the media always want to ask us and then critique what we got to say. Because I heard people taking jabs at me. One thing, Vinny and TB, I want you to know, I don't speak just to speak. If I don't know something, I don't know, or I just don't talk about it. So if I say something, somebody say, well, you can believe me if you want to. All right, you don't have to believe me, but I know something. So just wait for it. So I was going to get the media on to have reverse. We're going to have a round table with media people so they can give out their thoughts. And we say, that's dumb as hell. But I ain't put the legwork in for that. So we are going to be on Wednesday. We follow on behind Vinny and TB, 9 p.m. to 10-ish Eastern Standard Time every Wednesday. You can find us on all social media platforms. TheLocker, The Locker 411. All of them: Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, all that, man. TikTok. But I will tell you this. Here's something that would work real good a couple years ago. We ain't gonna do it this week because we got to talk about what happened, see which direction we headed coming out. But we gonna get our boys. We got revenge party coming up with them boys from Tennessee.
Oh,
I think Van might. Yeah, I think we both. Me and Fred White came out the same year. I think Van played with the year before the national championship. So the two national championship guys, man, they came on. They told us last year Tennessee was gonna whoop us, and they told us why they thought Tennessee was gonna whoop us. And Tennessee went out and whooped us. So now we're gonna get them back on so we can see what they talk. I'm trying to get them back on. Not this Wednesday. No, not right after this show, but next Wednesday, the 25th, I believe.
I remember watching that one last year. I remember y'all having Fred and them on. Sure do. That was good stuff. Well, man, appreciate y'all coming on before y'all do y'all show, taking some time, man. Y'all been coming on here for years, and glad to get y'all back on here, man.
Y'all came a long way, man. We can't just jump on here. You can't just jump on here like he used to be back in the day. Back in the day, you just be able to call in, man.
Right, we just call in. Hey, we gonna hop on tonight. Come on, no, man. We gotta have schedule. We gotta put on our itinerary. Right.
And we trying to be like y'all, trying to be live on Twitter and stuff. And y'all was doing that long before us. We, YouTube and all that. We trying to do what y'all been doing. That's all.
I don't know. We enjoy it, man. We enjoy working with y'all, man.
Yeah, and so Sunday AM Sports Talk too. Forgot to mention that. I mentioned everywhere Van be going. You every Sunday with Jack Pilgrim and Larry Vault on 6:30, man. So yeah,
we might get a little bit more Van coming soon because Jack Pilgrim supposed he's expecting. It may have already had it. It should have happened yesterday, or I think it would have been on Twitter by now. So. If once he got to take that time off, we're gonna try and get the Locker's own Van Hiles.
There you go.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, new fatherhood coming for Jackson. Yeah, get Van in there. All right. Appreciate y'all, man.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
All right, appreciate it.
All right, fellas.
Thanks, guys.
Van Hiles, 8 out White. Catch him at 9 on the Locker 411. They've been coming on here forever, dropping knowledge, getting thoughts on the program. They've been there and done it, man. So
Yeah.
Always cool talking with them. Oh, hey, man, look, man, from weeks ago, this is a few weeks late, but your cousin, man, your cousin Mitch Brown has moved on from Lexington, and
Yeah.
I think he's back up in DC area where he's from. But he had nothing but great things to say about his time here, and
Yep.
get settled in, get him back on. But hate to see him go. We've seen people come through, and this isn't the destination. They're moving on to other things, but enjoy getting to meet people that have come through, the media types.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Absolutely.
Mitch was good people, man. He came on here he didn't know us, and came on here over and over again, and talk Lakers and Heat with you, and that was Brown family beef because your cousin was on the other side. But
Yeah.
Best wishes to Mitch, and we're a few weeks late getting that out, but hope he's doing well back in the with the DMV, what they call it up there, I think. Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah.
So yeah, man. Getting back to your Niners, because you in those streets, you in the San Francisco social media streets. Is it a concern for maybe not you or a lot of the fan base? They're so physical that they always getting banged up. I'm like, are they injury prone-ish? Kittle gets hurt every year at some point. CMC has his little stuff. Are y'all worried that here we go again with this injury bug, or y'all ain't really worried about it? How y'all feel about that?
I mean, you got to play how you play, right? And so this team is very physical, and so my whole thing is, if we got to rest guys, rest them, obviously, because again, like I said at the top, I just want to be healthy come January and see what happens, and go into January as healthy as you can at the end of a 17-game NFL season, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's my thing. And look, like I said, all the fan bases I've been a part of, like San Francisco fans, hey, we just enjoyed it, man. Like, we are not trying to, get too out of control, because I think we're still the odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl. I'm like, this takes me back. Like this, I'm okay with that. Like, we're gonna show up. We're gonna do what we have to do. And I knew, I think I said on here, we're gonna drop some games. We're not going 17-0.
Mm-hmm.
And against Cleveland, where a lot of things went wrong, and still had a shot to win at the end, I'm okay. Let's get some of that bad juju out the way so we can win 3 or 4 straight come January, February.
And I know if I saw it, I know y'all saw the stat, but was it Cleveland's defensive coordinator, Jim Schwartz or whatever, kind of like, as Jerry Jones like to say, he's kind of the kryptonite for Shanahan. Like Shanahan's kind of like when he matches up with that dude,
yeah,
the record ain't too good. So you're not gonna see him again unless it's the Super Bowl when the Browns get there. But for whatever reason, everybody got their little, Achilles heel, and that guy's kind of Shanahan's Achilles heel.
Yeah, so I don't, like I said, I'm not overly concerned. I mean, there's always a referendum on Brock Purdy. This was his first regular season loss.
That's yeah, right.
This is only since he's been quarterback, if you count the NFC Championship game, this is only the second loss in 18 games.
Mm-hmm.
So he came in starting for a team that was built to win now, right? Like, he did not get eased into anything. And so I think he's played well. Sunday's game, it was a stinker. It was bound to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, as long as, he kind of plays mistake-free football, I like where we are.
What's y'all 1 o'clock or 4 o'clock or 12 o'clock or 3 o'clock, I guess, Central Time? What time is that kicking off? No, it's Monday night. Never mind.
All my rowdy friends is coming over on Monday night, baby.
That's
right. I'll be at US Bank Field. I think that's what it is. And I said something about the Metrodome, and I'm like, oh my, how? I'm dating myself with that, right?
Yeah, crazy.
But I'm looking forward to it. I think Sunday is we're going to do some Prince stuff and everything like that in Minneapolis. So I'm looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun trip. So with with Kansas City's recent success, I know you said that's the closest NFL city to y'all.
Mhm.
Is Kansas City the official team of Des Moines, or is it Vikings country? How's where y'all are laid out as far as who they root for? I know who you root for. Oh, I was all well because of Kittle. Like Des Moines is 49ers country for real.
It has become
All right.
because you got Kittle and you've got Brock Purdy, so you've got Iowa and Iowa State representing. It would be if someone had, if I don't know, if Josh Allen was playing defense for Baltimore, right? Like that would get love for, because you got Lamar, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
yeah, there's been a lot of times where the 49ers, per the map, our good friend Ed puts out those maps, like what the coverage is for who gets to see what game around the NFL. And what game was it? It was the game before the Cowboys. I can't remember now, but we weren't supposed to get the game here. But I turned on the TV and we had the 49ers game. Now, we didn't this past week because it was Bears and Vikings. So I think it's more Bears country here because of the Chicago connection. So Bears and Vikings, I think, have a pull. But when they can, they're putting 49er games on TV because of Kittle and because of Purdy.
So how far are you from Iowa City and Little Ames? How far are you from both?
Like 45 minutes from Ames, maybe, and an hour and a half from Iowa City.
All right.
So, yeah. So, good friend of the show, Adam Jacoby. He was at the Iowa women played at Kinnick Stadium, had 56,000 plus there. There's a photo of Caitlin Clark coming up to court, and there's our man Adam sitting courtside. So he's done a lot of stuff, covering a lot of Iowa stuff. He will be on to join us probably at the end of the month. He's got a lot of stuff going on. He's doing things for football. He's doing things for men's and women's basketball, wrestling as well. Also field hockey. He let me know that the Iowa field hockey team beat Louisville last week 3-1 or something like that. So speaking of field hockey, I got to give a shout out to my youngest who made her first ever varsity start in the first round of the district and scored a goal off a corner play.
All right now.
And that was on Saturday because Kate and I went to a movie. We went and saw Equalizer 3 because I love Denzel taking care of business. I got my phone on Do Not Disturb, but you got the people that can still get through. My phone start buzzing. I look down. I get that all caps message that I shared with you. I played the whole game and scored a goal. I was like, we talked about. And then we got to FaceTime that evening. And, man, I say it all the time. I like when I'm doing stuff, but when your kid's doing something, and they got that fire and they telling you all about it. But they did lose to Assumption on Monday. But look, a good freshman season. She's very excited. So awesome stuff.
Absolutely. So congratulations to Lauren. Can't say Little Miss no more. Congratulations to Lauren on the whole freshman season. True freshman doing what she did.
Yeah.
Assumption where Sarah plays.
Yeah, but so Sarah's not. She's not. No, she did. It was. I thought it was going to be, but Sarah decided not to do field hockey this year. She's focusing on lacrosse, which is where her scholarship's going to come. And that's in the spring. So they did not face each other, although that I thought that was going to happen. But yeah, it was at Sarah's school.
Yeah.
But a good freshman season. We talked it out, and she had earned the coach's. She earned the starting job, and she ended up playing all of the last 2 games. And I told her, I said, that's very important. It's like Van was talking about. You have to know where you are, what other people are supposed to be doing. That's part of it. And so I said, getting a start at all or playing at all is a big deal. It's not like the Y League where everybody plays, right? This is, these coaches are still trying to win games. Like, winning's not everything, but they're still playing to win, and you've got to earn that. You've got to earn that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we had a good discussion about that and about playing. I said, all this means is as your team heads into that off season, you've got to be that leader. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I said, you've reached this point. You've got to be that leader, which I don't think she'll have a problem with because she loves to boss people around. But I said, you got to show people. And we talked about, her plans for this summer, playing on different traveling teams. I definitely want to get her to come here to Iowa because, again, Iowa's a top 3 or 4 as their ranking right now. Come here for a clinic or two. Just to hone in on your skills. So very, very excited.
Yeah.
On top of her with her good grades and her job and everything like that,
Mm-hmm.
had the first tax conversation. She's like, this is what my check was. This is what it would have been without the taxes. I'm like, you got about 60 years of that, baby. FICA? What's a FICA? Hey, that's
yep.
That's how that goes. But everything is going good here. We're looking forward to Monday Night Football, and like I said, I'm trying not to fight. I'm trying not to get on TV.
Yeah, they're gonna pan on you and catch you. They're gonna catch you.
Yeah.
Like as soon as the game starts, they're gonna, Niners gonna do something, and there you're gonna be.
Well, I got to decide what jersey I'm gonna rock with. We'll see how that goes.
Mm-hmm. That's important decisions now, but especially, even more so maybe on the road. But how you gonna rep the Niners, and then you get to interact with all the other Niners fans, and that's always fun. So that's fun, especially on the road, man. That's fun.
The good thing is, like I've told you, the 49ers fans are traveling more so than they did way back when. Mm-hmm. You've seen it in AT&T Stadium. Like the red is showing up. And so I'm looking forward to it. I knew a couple of folks that went to the game in Cleveland. So they're like, we hope you have a better outing, than we did. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to it, man. Like I said, it's been a while. I was trying to think the last time I saw him in person. It was in Cincinnati, but it's been a while. So, and this is going to be the wife's first NFL game.
All right. Nice.
Well, she said she went to like a preseason game. I said, well, those don't really count. I said, it's going to be a little bit different. So we're excited, man. We're excited.
A buddy of mine is a Steelers fan, and he went up there week 1 for Niners Steelers, and he's sitting on Snapchat walking out of the tunnel because y'all destroyed them like you did the Cowboys. And I was like, well, at least you showed up because your team sure didn't. And he's like, yeah, I was about the only one because Pittsburgh was MIA after what y'all did to them. So, yeah. So hope y'all have fun. It's going to be exciting.
I'll be sharing pictures and stuff. I'm excited. I want to see Minneapolis too. So I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know how many other black people I see without Prince and Kirby Puckett, but we'll see how that goes.
Myron Metcalf is up there from there.
I tweeted at him and I told him, I was like, because he said something about the airports or something. I was like, Minnesota, the airport in Minnesota is very, very nice. But I was like, I'll be up in Minnesota, this weekend. He's like, enjoy yourself. I said, oh, I hope.
There you go. So yeah, Myron Metcalf, Kevin Garnett ain't there no more.
But I might see Cat. I might say what up to Cat.
That's right. Absolutely.
So, I'm hoping. I got to look at the schedule to see when the Lakers are coming because I would like to go back up. The only problem is, there's about 3 months where traveling is treacherous here in the upper Midwest, and if it's cold here, it's colder there. So
unbelievable.
Basketball season, I don't know.
Man,
makes travel a little bit tough.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, speaking of the Cats, was it Media Day today? Yep. Madness was Friday. The blue-white game is this Friday at Northern Kentucky. I like how they're moving that around the state. So get exhibition games coming up with Georgetown soon. The Cats are laying in the weeds at number 16, picked in 4th to win, Tennessee and Arkansas and whoever they picked ahead of them. So the Cats just laying in the cut, and hey, just sneak up on people this year. We're not in that position often, TB.
No, and I'm fine with it. The streak of being top 10, whatever, man.
Yeah.
We don't celebrate that.
Right.
At least I don't think we do. But yeah, I'm fine with it. Start at 16. Still ranked. Got some work to do. I think this team is built for the spotlight.
Yeah.
From what I'm seeing and hearing and feeling. The regular season is going to be a different animal, but no matter what happens, it's going to be March, right?
Yep.
That's when the pressure will be for this team after 3 lackluster Marches.
Mm-hmm.
The pressure is going to be on. So my hope is that they do enough during the regular season to what A-Dot was saying and Van, they ain't got to think about it, right?
Yeah.
Like we know what we're going to do. Let's go do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm hoping about, so they don't have to feel that pressure on them.
Yeah. Been listening to our guy, Cameron Mills did some interviews with him on some podcasts, and kind of get to know you stuff. That was cool. And he loves to say he's not media, but he keeps doing more and more media stuff.
He keeps doing stuff like he's media.
And it could be, I think him and Dick Gabriel are on TV or on radio during the blue-white game or whatever. But yeah, he is media more and more. So congrats to him. It was some good interviews, and pretty much all of Big Blue Nation's listened to those already. Cal talked to Big Z. So, everybody's excited about him. But hey, just glad he's here. Don't expect him to come in and be like peak Sam Bowie pre-injury right off the bat, because he got to get in and acclimate. Got to acclimate, man. So we're glad to have him for the extra depth, and hopefully the other big guys come back healthy and ready to go when they're supposed to be there. So we'll see it. Hopefully all come together, man. A lot of nice pieces to work with, to play with, and see how they all fit together real soon.
Absolutely. There'll be time to worry about basketball come February.
Exactly. But man, we had another fun show, CB. Think we hit everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Always fun. Glad to have Van and A-Dot on to kick it around with the locker dudes. Always fun.
Safe travels to Minnie, and we look forward to seeing you up there soon as Chris Stapleton and them finish up. They're gonna pan right on you, because you know how lovely wife gets on TV. She's out with the Cubs stuff and WGN.
That's right. She's got the WGN stuff. Yeah.
You married to and gonna be in the presence of a TV magnet, so don't be surprised when MNF just pans right on y'all.
And that's what we were talking about, from our viral tweets to her being on TV. Odds are we're probably going to end up on TV.
Yeah, somebody gonna score and they gonna hand you the ball, and they go,
Hey, because CMC throws his gloves and other people throw stuff. Hey, look, let me tell you something though. I love little kids, but hey, Debo throw something in the crowd.
See, you said you wasn't fighting, but you about to fight a minor for some
swag. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh man, can't wait till Monday. Definitely gonna be watching y'all against the Vikes and Mr. You Like That, Kirk Cousins. So seeing if y'all can.
Mr. Kirk Cousins, who is ranked. Where's Kirk Cousins? Number 24 in all-time passing yards, behind Johnny Unitas.
So much mediocrity up in that list, man. Unbelievable.
Yeah, once you get to the again, Kerry Collins and Russell Wilson sandwich Joe Montana and Johnny Unitas with Kirk Cousins and Andy Dalton.
Unbelievable. Just hang around and get in some games, and you can make the list, man. Throw it around and be average and make the list.
the craziest thing is Warren, how high Warren Moon is, and I don't think they're counting his CFL stats. I mean, that's why he's in the Hall of Fame. Like, those numbers don't count, but that dude could have been balling.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
5 years.
Yeah.
If he's healthy, say he plays them all. That's 80 games. That's 80 games, man.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Absolutely.
80 games of run and shoot. Warren Moon. Come on. Oh, man. It's been another fun show, man. We talk about it every week. We text about it every week. Appreciate you.
Absolutely.
A-Dot and Van. And looking forward to Monday night. Y'all have a blast. Looking forward to all your pictures and everything you capture and share. So, a lot of fun, man. BS3 Network, we appreciate Ben letting us be on. All the other podcasts, too. Y'all check them out. And with that, TB and I will see y'all next Wednesday.